Once upon a time, in a small village nestled at the foot of a mighty mountain, there lived a man named Samuel. Samuel was an ordinary man with a heart full of dreams and aspirations. He had faced numerous challenges in his life, but he never lost hope and always believed in the power of determination. Samuel had always been fascinated by the towering mountain that overlooked the village. It stood as a symbol of strength and resilience, reminding him of the kind of man he aspired to be. One day, Samuel decided to embark on a journey to conquer the mountain. The villagers laughed and doubted his ability, but Samuel remained undeterred. With unwavering determination, Samuel began his ascent. The path was treacherous, filled with steep slopes, slippery rocks, and unpredictable weather. However, Samuel pressed on, pushing himself beyond his limits. He stumbled and fell countless times, enduring pain and exhaustion, but he refused to give up. Along his journey, Samuel encountered other travelers who had also dared to challenge the mountain. They formed an unlikely band of brothers, supporting and encouraging each other through the toughest of times. They shared stories of their struggles and victories, and their camaraderie strengthened their resolve. As Samuel climbed higher, the air grew thin, and the challenges intensified. Doubts began to creep into his mind, but he remembered the faith he had in himself and the belief that anything was possible. He drew upon his inner strength and pushed forward, inch by inch. Finally, after days of relentless effort, Samuel reached the summit. The sight that greeted him took his breath away. The world unfolded before him, stretching endlessly in all directions. From that vantage point, Samuel realized that the true victory was not just reaching the top of the mountain, but the transformative journey he had undertaken to get there. News of Samuel's triumph spread like wildfire, and the villagers marveled at his accomplishment. They were inspired by his determination, resilience, and unwavering spirit. Samuel became a symbol of hope and courage for men in the village and beyond. Emboldened by his experience, Samuel became a mentor to other men, guiding them on their own personal mountains. He taught them that greatness lies not in the absence of challenges, but in the courage to face and overcome them. Samuel's story became a testament to the power of perseverance and the limitless potential that resides within every man. And so, the legacy of Samuel, the ordinary man who achieved extraordinary feats, continues to inspire generations of men to pursue their dreams, conquer their mountains, and become the best versions of themselves. In a distant and ancient land, nestled among verdant hills and serene rivers, lived a small village called Eldoria. The villagers were content in their simple ways, finding joy in the little moments that life offered them. Yet the village was yearning for something more profound, a deeper understanding of true happiness. One day, a wise old man named Alaric arrived at the village. His long white beard flowed like a cascading waterfall, and his eyes sparkled with the wisdom of centuries. The villagers welcomed him with open arms, sensing that he held the answers they sought. Alaric took residence in a humble cottage at the edge of the village, spending his days in quiet contemplation under the shade of a massive oak tree. The villagers observed his solitude, and in the evenings, they gathered around his cottage, eager to listen to his tales of wisdom. One warm summer evening, the villagers gathered around the fire, their eyes gleaming with anticipation. They asked Alaric to share his insights on happiness. With a gentle smile, he began his tale. Long ago, in a time before memory, there lived a great king named Salarius. His kingdom was prosperous, and he had everything his heart desired. Yet the king felt a deep emptiness inside, a void that wealth and power could not fill. The villagers listened intently, eager to learn from the ancient tale. One day, Salarius set out on a quest to find true happiness. He journeyed far and wide, seeking counsel from sages and scholars, but their answers only left him more perplexed. Until one day, he encountered an old hermit deep within a mystical forest. The fire crackled, and the villagers leaned in closer, captivated by the story. The hermit, who exuded tranquility and joy, shared with Salarius the secret of happiness. "Happiness, my dear king, lies not in the pursuit of material wealth or power," the hermit said. "It is found in the simple act of giving, in spreading kindness and compassion to others." The villagers nodded, realizing the significance of the hermit's words. Salarius returned to his kingdom and began to practice the art of selflessness. He offered help to the needy, uplifted the spirits of his subjects, and fostered a sense of unity among them. As he brought happiness to others, he found an inexplicable joy blossoming within his own heart. As Alaric's tale continued, The villagers discovered the profound wisdom of simplicity and altruism. They realized that true happiness lay not in acquiring possessions, but in the genuine connections they shared with one another. From that day forward, Eldoria flourished as a beacon of happiness. The villagers lived harmoniously, guided by the wisdom of the wise old man. They embraced simplicity, finding joy in the beauty of nature, the warmth of friendships, and the laughter of children. And so, the tale of the wise old man and the ancient village of Eldoria lived on, reminding generations that true happiness lies within one's heart, unlocked by the selfless acts of kindness and love. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between towering mountains, lived a young man named Ethan. Ethan had always dreamed of becoming a skilled artist, but life seemed to conspire against him at every turn. His family was poor, and they struggled to make ends meet. Despite his talent, Ethan's dreams remained just that, dreams. As the years passed, Ethan's hope began to dwindle. He watched his friends pursue their passions and succeed while he remained stuck in the same cycle of despair. Doubt gnawed at his soul, and he questioned whether he would ever find a way out of his predicament. One day, as Ethan sat under a tree, contemplating his bleak future, an old artist stumbled upon him. Intrigued by Ethan's despondent demeanor, the artist struck up a conversation. As they talked, Ethan poured out his heart, sharing his dreams and frustrations. The old artist listened intently, then smiled knowingly. "My boy," he said, "hopelessness is merely a shadow cast by fear, but within every shadow lies the potential for light." With those words, the artist handed Ethan a brush and a blank canvas. "Paint," he urged. "Paint your dreams, and let your heart guide your hand." With newfound determination, Ethan began to paint. He poured his soul onto the canvas, channeling his struggles and aspirations into vibrant strokes of color. As he worked, the weight of hopelessness lifted, replaced by a sense of purpose and possibility. Days turned into weeks, and word of Ethan's talent spread throughout the village. People came from far and wide to marvel at his creations, each painting a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Through his art, Ethan discovered that hope was not a distant beacon, but a flame burning within him all along. And though his journey was not without challenges, he embraced each obstacle as an opportunity to grow. In the end, Ethan realized that hopelessness was merely a chapter in his story, a chapter that ultimately led him to the realization that the power to create his own destiny was within his grasp all along. And with each stroke of his brush, he painted a brighter future not only for himself, but for all who dared to dream.
Once upon a time, country was ruled by a king who had no son to succeed to the throne. Since the king was getting old, he wanted to select a suitable successor to rule the country. The king sent out notices throughout his country. The notices invited every qualified young man in the country for an interview with the king. The outcome of the interview would decide a possible successor to the throne. The only qualification for the candidate was that they should have immense love for their fellow human being. Every young man across the country was very excited at the possibility of being the ruler of the country. A poor young man from a remote village also read the notice and started to prepare for an interview with the king. The man was a kind man, a hard-working man, but he was very poor due to various circumstances. The man had no good clothes to be presentable in the sight of the king, so the young man worked really hard and saved some money to buy him proper clothes and supplies to support him for the long journey to the palace. After he got his supplies and a proper attire for the interview, the young man set out on his quest. He traveled many days and had almost completed the journey when he came upon a poor beggar by the side of the road. The poor beggar sat trembling in the cold, covered only in tattered rags. The beggar extended his arms and pleaded for help. His weak voice croaked, "I am hungry and cold. Please help me, sir." The young man was so moved by the pathetic condition of the beggar that he immediately stripped his new attire and offered it to him. He also provided him with his very limited food he had carried for the journey. The beggar thanked the man 1,000 times, but Since the man had given up his good clothes to the beggar, he was a bit hesitant to go for the interview. He, however, gathered enough courage to enter the palace in his old dirty clothes. Upon his arrival at the palace, King's attendant showed him the way to the great hall. After a short rest to clean off the journey's grime, the man was admitted to the throne for the interview. The young man bowed low as the king entered the room. When he raised his eyes, he gasped in astonishment as he noticed that the king looked very similar to the beggar he had met on the way. The king saw the shock in the man's eye and said, "Yes, I was the beggar you met on your way. But why did you dress up like a beggar? You are a king. Well, why did you do this to me?" The young man stammered after gaining some composure. "Because I had to be sure that you had a good heart and you genuinely love your fellow human beings," said the king. "I knew that if I came to you as a king, you would have done anything to impress me. But that way, I would never have known what is truly in your heart. The generosity and love to the one in need without expecting anything in return is the sign of a great heart. Looking at your love, generosity towards the beggar man, prove that you sincerely love your fellow human beings. This country needs a leader who would work for the welfare of all of the nation, not just the ones who would offer and cater to the throne. You have proven that you are the right person to be my successor," promised the king. You see, in life, kindness is more important than wisdom, and the recognition of this is the beginning of wisdom. A heart filled with compassion and love to our fellow human beings is the greatest gift we can give to the world. A king in this land today might be rich and glamorous, might have the power and all the might, but this kingdom is worthless compared to a rich heart of a beggar man. This is Alpha Life Motivation Stories. Thanks for watching, and stay blessed.
In a small village, there was a boy named Liam who loved butterflies. One day, he caught a beautiful butterfly and placed it in a glass jar so he could admire it up close. He made sure to poke holes in the lid so the butterfly could breathe. For the first few days, the butterfly frantically beat its wings, trying to escape, but the jar kept it trapped. Over time, the butterfly stopped trying. It sat motionless at the bottom of the jar, its once vibrant wings still. Liam began to feel guilty. He realized that the butterfly wasn't meant to be kept in a jar. It needed to be free. One morning, Liam decided to release the butterfly. He unscrewed the lid, expecting it to fly out, but the butterfly remained still. Confused, Liam asked his mother why it wouldn't leave. She explained, "The butterfly has grown used to being trapped. It doesn't believe it can fly anymore." Feeling heartbroken, Liam tipped the jar over, gently helping the butterfly out onto the windowsill. At first, it hesitated, but eventually, with a gentle breeze, its wings fluttered. Slowly, the butterfly lifted off the windowsill and soared into the sky, free once again. Like the butterfly, we often grow used to the limits placed on us, forgetting that we have the power to break free. Even when opportunities arise, fear or doubt can hold us back. But if we take the leap, we can rediscover our ability to rise above our challenges and find freedom.
In a quiet, dark forest, a tiny seed lay buried deep beneath the cold, damp soil. It was a lonely existence, hidden away in the earth, far from the light and warmth of the sun. The little seed felt small and afraid, wondering if it would ever grow or see the world above. Surrounded by the pressing weight of the earth, it could only hope that one day it might break free from the darkness. Days turned into nights, and the seasons changed. The seed remained underground, patiently waiting. One day, a gentle breeze swept through the forest, rustling the leaves above and bringing with it a warm ray of sunlight. That sunlight filtered through the earth, warming the seed for the first time. The seed felt a glimmer of hope as it absorbed the warmth, and with this newfound energy, it began to stir. Slowly, the seed pushed its way upward, breaking through the heavy soil that surrounded it. Bit by bit, it inched toward the surface. It was difficult work, but the seed was determined to keep growing. Finally, after much effort, it emerged from the ground as a tiny green sprout. For the first time, it could feel the fresh air on its leaves and the gentle touch of rain on its stem. It was a small beginning, but it was filled with possibility. Life above ground, however, was not without its challenges. The young sprout was fragile, and the world around it was full of dangers. Strong winds whipped through the forest, bending the sprout nearly to the ground. Heavy rains pounded down, threatening to wash it away, and hungry animals wandered through the woods, nibbling at the sprout's tender leaves. Each day was a test of the sprout's strength and will to survive. Yet, despite these hardships, the sprout did not give up. With each challenge, it grew stronger. Its roots dug deep into the earth, anchoring it firmly in place, and its stem grew taller and sturdier, reaching toward the sky. The wind, though fierce, made the sprout more flexible. The rain, once overwhelming, became a source of nourishment, helping it grow. Slowly but surely, the sprout began to thrive. As time passed, the sprout grew into a young sapling. Its branches spread wide, and its leaves reached high to soak up the sunlight. The sapling no longer bent easily under the weight of the wind, and its roots held firm even during the heaviest storms. It had become resilient, standing tall and proud in the heart of the forest. Seasons continued to change, and the sapling grew into a mighty oak tree. Its thick trunk supported wide branches, and its lush green leaves provided shade to the creatures of the forest. Birds built nests in its branches, and animals rested in its shadow. The oak, once just a tiny, uncertain seed, had grown into a towering tree, standing as a symbol of strength and endurance. The tree had faced countless challenges along its journey, but each one had made it stronger. It had grown from the smallest, most fragile beginnings into something mighty and beautiful. The little seed that had once been buried in the dark earth had become a proud oak, a reminder that with patience, perseverance, and belief in oneself, even the smallest beginnings can lead to great things. The forest whispered the story of the tree to all who passed by, telling them to never lose hope and to keep growing, no matter how difficult the journey may seem. In ancient Japan, there was a renowned tea master named Seiichi, who was known for his serene presence and incredible focus. His tea ceremonies were a blend of grace, precision, and calm, each movement deliberate and mindful. One day, as Seiichi was traveling through a village, he accidentally brushed shoulders with a samurai swordsman. The swordsman, quick to anger and known for his short temper, felt insulted by the perceived disrespect. "How dare you?" the swordsman roared, drawing his sword. "I challenge you to a duel at dawn tomorrow." Seiichi, though a master of tea, was no warrior. He knew that he stood no chance against the skilled swordsman, yet refusing the challenge would be dishonorable, so he accepted. Feeling terrified, Seiichi went to a Zen master for advice. The Zen master listened patiently and then said, "Seiichi, you are not a warrior, but you are a master of tea. Approach this challenge with the same focus you bring to your tea ceremony." The next morning, Seiichi arrived at the duel. He knelt down, calmly began to prepare a cup of tea with the same grace and precision as always. He was entirely absorbed in the process, measuring the tea leaves, pouring the hot water, and whisking the tea without a single tremor or hesitation. It was as if nothing else existed in that moment but the tea. The swordsman, watching Seiichi's unwavering focus, was taken aback. Never had he seen someone face death with such calm and grace. He realized that Seiichi, though not a warrior, possessed a mastery and discipline that equaled, if not surpassed, his own. As Seiichi finished making the tea, he presented it to the swordsman with a bow. The swordsman sheathed his sword, humbled by the tea master's composure. He said, "I was prepared to take your life, but now I see there is more to mastery than the sword. You have taught me the true meaning of focus." The swordsman bowed deeply and left, no longer seeing Seiichi as a rival, but as a fellow master of a different path.